Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Friday, September the 28th. I'm Clay Emo at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. And here's my Canucks take, all in one take. Right off the bat, I want to give a shout out, a thank you to my friend Mike. He runs the channel Top Shelf Hockey. He had me and Gio, also known as Lego Rocks 99 Gaming. I know many of you know him already and subscribe to him already. He had both of us on in his video yesterday in his season preview for the Vancouver Canucks. Mike did a good job of bring out some stats from last year and his predictions for the team. Then Gio came and talked about the additions and subtractions from last year's roster to this year's roster. And then I brought it home by predicting the final 23-man roster for next Wednesday's home opener against the Calgary Flames at Rogers Arena. So I'll put the video down below. Give it a watch. It's pretty good. It's 18 minutes long. It goes pretty darn quick though. We each talk for 5 or 6 minutes. Again, Mike, Gio, and me. I'll also put the links to their channels down below. Give them both a follow. Subscribe to both of them. Both doing excellent work. I'm sure many of you follow one or both of them already, but doing excellent work providing daily content. Mike kind of general NHL stuff, and of course Gio doing some great work with the Vancouver Canucks, all while showing awesome NHL 19 gameplay. So give those guys a look, give that video a look, and tell me what you think. Okay, today I want to talk about rookies. As the Canucks look towards their last preseason game, they're playing tomorrow night in Kelowna. They're hosting, so to speak, the Arizona Coyotes. And a couple of notes from practice. Barchi's missing his second day of practice with the flu. I expect him to be fine by Wednesday. And then you have Anton Roussel still suffering from concussion symptoms, so he'll likely start the season on IR. And we learned yesterday that Thatcher Demko also out with a concussion, suffered in a skate in Utah. So I'm sure he'll clear protocol, and then he'll be sent down to Utica. Canucks also have a couple roster decisions to make. They got 2 or 3 bodies to still send down or figure out. So likely look for a combination of Archibald, Mott, and Biega to be at least 2 of those guys to be sent down for the season to start. They basically got to pare down by 3 guys. And if Anton Roussel starts on the IR, then I think they have to still pare down by 2 more guys before the season starts. So I think it's going to be Biega and Archibald, with Mott staying up here because Roussel's on the IR. But we'll see. We'll find all that out in the next few days as the Canucks pare down the roster by Tuesday in anticipation of Wednesday's game. All right, I said I was going to talk about rookies. We should probably do that. Obviously, we're very excited about our rookie, Elias Pettersson. And Bodog recently released their betting odds for the Calder Trophy, Rookie of the Year. And they had 5 guys in their top 5. Well, that makes sense, 5 guys in the top 5. They had Pettersson as the favorite at 4-1. Then they had Dahlin and Svechnikov tied at 6-1. Then they had Tolvanen from the Nashville Predators at 13-2, which is basically 6.5-1. And then rounding out the top 5 was Casey Mittelstadt of Buffalo at 15-2 or 7.5-1. So again, it's Pettersson at 4-1, Svechnikov and Dahlin at 6-1, Tolvanen at 6.5-1, and then Mittelstadt at 7.5-1. I'm going to talk about Tolvanen very quickly because then I'm going to not talk about him anymore. 30th overall pick in the 2017 draft, so Pettersson's year, first round, right at the end of the first round to Nashville. But we just learned that he got sent down a couple days ago to their AHL team, so he won't start the season with Nashville. And what's interesting about him is he's got a clause in his contract that he can return to the KHL after playing 10 games in the AHL. So I know Nashville's already concerned. They think that playing the AHL on North American ice will be better for his long-term development. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on that a little bit. I'm not overly concerned because it doesn't really concern me or the Canucks, but it's still an interesting story to watch. So let's talk about the other 4 guys. Pettersson, Dahlin, Svechnikov, and Mittelstadt. I ran my own poll, as I usually do before I record one of these things, and in a couple hours I got 200 votes, and I guess it's no surprise given that this is a Vancouver Canucks channel. Most of my followers are Canucks fans, so there's going to be no bias at all. Elias Pettersson has 70% of the votes for who will win the Calder. So Pettersson is 70%, followed by Dahlin at 17%, then Svechnikov at 7%, Mittelstadt at 6%. And because you've only put 4 options in a Twitter poll question, I didn't put Tolvanen in there. I know there's guys like Kailer Yamamoto out of Edmonton. There's guys like Donato out of Boston that could do that also could figure into it. But let's just talk about these 4 guys for the purpose of today's video. We're obviously excited about Pettersson. We've seen the way he can deke, dangle, skate, shoot, pass, whatever it may be. And the one underrated part of his game, the one part I've been surprised at, is his tenaciousness back checking. You know, we know he's not the biggest guy. He knows he's not the biggest guy. So it looks like he's going to try and overcome that with some good hard back checking, aggressive skating, chasing down, opposing forwards, whatever it may be. And I've been quite impressed whether he gives up a puck or his teammate gives us a puck, he's oftentimes the first forward back through the neutral zone, and he's already broken up a handful of plays in the Canucks defensive zone with his back check. So obviously he's going to have to continue to learn how to use his body, use his stick, use positioning, because he's not the biggest guy. And we'll see what happens when he goes in the corner for the first time against a guy like Getzlav or Kopitar or Chara. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So obviously we're very excited about Pettersson. Not biased at all, taking 70% of my Twitter polls so far. Next up was Rasmus Dahlin. He was the first overall pick in the 2018 draft, going to Buffalo, and obviously a generational talent. People are very excited about him, and rightfully so. He's the complete package. We've seen him lay out a couple massive body checks already in training camp and preseason, so he'll be a joy to watch for years to come for sure. So that's Rasmus Dahlin. You know, the next defenseman taken in the 2018 draft was our guy, Quinn Hughes, just ahead of guys like Bouchard and Dobson. So we're excited. Who knows how big the drop-off is going to be between Dahlin and Hughes. Hopefully not that big. So we might see Quinn Hughes for us as early as the end of this season, depending on how his NCAA season goes. So Dahlin came in second in the poll at 17%. And I'm sure if we did this poll in Buffalo, or if a Buffalo Sabres YouTuber or Twitter guy did it, I'm sure the results would be different. Although maybe Dahlin and Mittelstadt would still split the Buffalo Sabres vote. So let's talk about Svechnikov and then Mittelstadt. Svechnikov was second overall pick in 2018, going to the Carolina Hurricanes. And I think he's going to be a very exciting player. Obviously, his offensive skill set is amazing. The way he can skate, the way he can also dangle, but his shot and his offensive awareness, that's why he went so high. That's why he was second overall. So excited to see things from him. And I think maybe, Dahlin's going to have to make a really big impact, given that he's playing with Mittelstadt and he's a defenseman. So maybe the Calder Trophy might come down to Pettersson and Svechnikov as forwards, similar type forwards. Who knows? And then coming in fourth in the poll was Casey Mittelstadt. Again, maybe his vote will be split with Dahlin as both Sabres players. But it's pretty exciting when you have both Dahlin and Mittelstadt, among with all their other players like Eichel on the Sabres. They're going to be good in a few years. But for Mittelstadt himself, he was picked 8th overall in 2017, just 3 spots after Elias Pettersson. I know there's a lot of talk in Vancouver at the time, and I've talked about this before, of who the Canucks take. If they wanted a center or wanted a forward, would it be Pettersson, or guys were leaning towards Cody Glass or Mittelstadt, guys like that. So obviously, hopefully we're going to be happy with our pick of Pettersson, just as Buffalo, I'm sure, is happy with their pick of Mittelstadt last year, and of course Dahlin this year. So Canucks fans, not just Canucks fans, anyone who's watching this, who do you think is going to win the Calder? I know there hasn't been a game yet in the regular season, but although you can talk about one of those 4 guys, Pettersson, Svechnikov, Dahlin, or Mittelstadt, or maybe throw in your own write-in vote, who do you think will win the Calder at the end of the year? Lastly, having to do with Pettersson and young guys, we've talked a lot about, and the Canucks talked a lot about how if young guys would earn a spot, or if they make it tough on the coaches and the management to make a decision, that they would be given every chance to earn an opportunity coming out of training camp. Well, now we see it's very clear that of the young guys, only Pettersson will make the opening night roster. Guys that there are hope for maybe at the start of training camp, Dahlin, Gaudette, and Juolevi, especially since yesterday's news of Juolevi and Gaudette going down. Now all 3 of those guys are now sent down to the minors. So really, none of them really gave a strong enough accounting. None of them played so well over and above in preseason that they beat out a veteran spot. So I don't think you can blame Canucks management, Canucks coaching for that decision. If you look at it objectively, yes, as much as you want to see the young kids play, if you look at it objectively, none of them beat out a veteran. Some people might want to see Granlund or Gagne wave, but all else being equal, the rookies didn't do anything to unseat those guys. Pettersson obviously did. He's been the Canucks' best player in the preseason, so that's why he's going to be playing up as high as the second line. So I guess my last question to you is Canucks fans, is when do you think we will see a guy like Juolevi in the lineup, Gaudette in the lineup, Dahlin in the lineup? A lot has to do with injuries, of course, with the fact that you can send them down, up and down to the minors without fear of losing them to waivers. And then, of course, it will be performance-related both in Utica for those guys and then up in the big club for guys like Gagne and Granlund, candidates to be replaced by these guys. So I guess my question, is really how quickly do you expect to see a guy like Juolevi or a guy like Dahlin or a guy like Gaudette up with the big club? And are you okay overall with the fact that they are starting in Utica? And do you think that they got a fair shot in training camp, and that their demotion, so to speak, or they're sending down to Utica was warranted. Okay, that's more than one question. That's a lot of questions. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. So leave a comment below either about the Calder rookie race, who you anticipate winning, or the fact that we got all our young guys down except for Pettersson, and do you think they got a fair shot in camp, and when do you expect to see any of them up? Levi, Gaudette, or Dahlin, to name a few. Okay, leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like if you like what I'm doing. Also, make sure you subscribe to Mike's channel, Gio's channel. It's a beautiful day. I'm in a good mood. I got to get back to work. Enjoy the last preseason game, and then get ready. It's Canucks hockey starting next Wednesday. This is awesome. I'm in a good mood, and let's all be happy that we're not gritty. Have a great day, and God bless. Go Canucks, go.